So today, my name is Deacon Hayes. I'm with Well Kept Wallet. I also have an SEO company called Phoenix SEO Company. We serve local brands in the Arizona market. And so I'm here to talk to you about SEO 101, how to get on the first page of Google. How many of you guys would like to be on the first page of Google? Raise your hand. Okay. For those of you that didn't raise your hand, there's some other sessions going on, so go check those out. But no, I'm glad you're here. So have any of you heard my talk before? Okay, good. So I have a question for you. It's a rhetorical question, so you don't have to answer. Where is the best place to hide a dead body? It's the second page of Google because nobody's ever going to look there. So that's why you're here, right? You don't want to be on the second page. You want to be on the first page. So what is search engine optimization? Put simply, it's optimizing your website so that you appear in the search engines, in the search results, right? And so there's very technical definitions, but just think about it that way. You're going to do stuff to your site so that you rank in the SERPs, or search engines. Some key elements of SEO. You're going to do research and analysis. You have to research your competition, what they're doing. We're going to go into that. You have to identify keywords, right? Who is your target audience? What are they searching for? We'll talk about some tools and ways to do that. You're going to have to do on-page optimization. So you're going to have to tweak the content. You're going to have to make modifications. We're going to go through that. And then off-page optimization. There are things that you need to do off of your website so that you rank on Google. So the first thing that I do when I'm trying to start getting into SEO is figure out who is my competition, what are they doing, and how do I get to their level, right? So there's a couple of tools that I use. One is called the Google Keyword Planner. How many of you use the Google Keyword Planner? Okay, it's a free tool. You have to have an AdWords account, but you don't have to use your AdWords account. And it will tell you a few things. How many people are searching for a keyword approximately? What the competition is for those keywords, and then the cost per click. Now, you don't really care about it because we're not talking about paid traffic, but that tells you how valuable a keyword is, right? If someone's paying $100 for that keyword, that's a very valuable keyword. There's probably going to be really high competition. If they're paying a penny, then that means there's very low competition. It might be worth going after. Another tool that I use is called SEMrush. This is a paid tool, but they do have some free stuff that you can do on it. So what you can do is take your competition that's ranking for a keyword that you want to rank for, put it in that tool, and it will give you other ideas of keywords that they're ranking for so that you can now write content around those things. Once again, we only have 20 minutes, so I'm going to kind of rush through these things. You'll be able to get my slides afterwards. If you can come talk to me afterwards, but so don't feel like you're overwhelmed, or you're going to feel like you're overwhelmed. Don't worry about it. Just take bits and pieces. So, like I said, when you're identifying keywords, so let's just say who wants to be a volunteer? Who has a website? Okay, Jackie, what's a keyword that you would like to rank for? Pay off debt. Okay, so what she's going to want to do is use that keyword planner, put pay off debt in there, and it's going to give her a bunch of recommendations that are similar to that keyword, as well as the information for that. So what you're looking for is low competition, high traffic volume, and that it's relevant, right? Like if she wants to rank for pay off debt, you don't want to be writing about, best high heel shoes to wear in the wintertime. So you really want to look for stuff that's really relevant to the keywords you want to rank for. Here's an example of an old, actually this is probably the keyword tool. So here's one like, what is debt? 2,900 searches a month. This is actually perfect. I did not plan this. And it's low competition. So instead of going for getting out of debt, which has high competition, going for what is debt might be a better keyword, right? So for on-page optimization, there's really just some key elements, probably 5 or 6, that you need to focus on. The URL structure, so what it says when people are looking in the URL bar, the address bar. Your header tags, we'll talk about that. The content's the most important thing. If you don't have valuable content, don't try to rank on Google. You need to have the best content that's going to answer the query of the person searching in Google. And if you don't have that, you need to work on that. Images, you need to have images, and you need to have image alt tags, we'll talk about that. Metadata, you're going to need to have a meta title, meta description. And then social media. You'll have to have a way to have your social media accounts linked to your website, as well as a way to share. So as far as URL structure, I'm just going to give you some best practices. Use the main keyword. It does not have to be exact. So if you're talking about paying off debt. It could be 5 ways to pay off debt really fast, right? It doesn't have to have exactly. Don't use the underscores. A lot of old school techniques and old school CMSs would have underscores. You want to have hyphens. So you guys know the difference between the two, right? Underscores on the bottom, hyphens in the middle. It actually can negatively affect you, so make sure that you do that. Heading tags. How many of you know what heading tags are, header tags? Okay. So like a newspaper, right? When you read a newspaper and it's flipped over and you're looking at it, you see a headline, right? That's the main idea, right? That's a header tag. So think of a header 1 tag is your main point of that article. 7 ways to pay off debt really fast. That's your header 1 tag. Then you also want to use header 2 tags, header 3 tags that kind of emphasize your secondary and tertiary points. Make sure you only have 1. Sometimes with your theme, I actually had this, I'm an SEO guy, and I had this happen. I installed a theme, and they automatically code H1s for things like comments or other things, and it was ridiculous. And so I had to go through and actually edit the theme. So one way to figure that out is a tool that's free called Screaming Frog. It will tell you if you have multiple H1 tags, Screaming Frog. And then also make them 15 to 65 characters. So heading tags are also typically going to be your page titles. And so that's what's going to show up in Google search results. So you want to make sure that those are going to be within 65 characters. Content. Like I said, above the fold. So when you have a newspaper and it's folded, that's the most important information. So you don't want to have, a bunch of stuff that's not relevant. You want to make sure that if you're writing a post about paying off debt, that shows up in the first 100 words, right? Make sure it's original content, right? If someone's submitting a guest post to you or a sponsored post or anything like that, you want to make sure it's original. There's a site called copyscape.com where you can check to make sure that it's not plagiarized, that it is original. Make it shareable, right? You want to engage with people so that they're actually going to share your content. So use emotion keywords like can you relate? Have you felt this way? Can you feel my frustration? Things that say, like, yes, I emotionally connect with your content. Also, link to authority sites. So if you're writing about topics and you want to be authoritative, you're the company that you keep. If you're linking to a bunch of crappy sites, that's what Google's going to view you as, right? So when you're linking, do it when it's relevant. Don't overdo it, but make sure that you're doing it. And then no follow links. How many of you do affiliate marketing or have affiliate links? Okay. No follow is a way to say to Google, you're not trying to pass authority to these affiliates, you're just trying to make money. So you want to put a no follow designation. If you want to figure that out, just Google how to no follow a link and tutorials will come up. But you definitely want to make sure to do that. So images, this is key. So if you have images, don't have it say IMG00049, right? You want to make sure that you title the image appropriately. Guy drinking water or geek with glasses on and pocket protector, whatever it is. Make sure that you have an alt image tag. This is also probably one of the most crucial things. And the way that I describe it is use the alt image tag as if you are describing what you see to a blind person, right? So like right now, so this is an example I got off the internet. I wouldn't say geeks are cool, but I could say geek in an old school sweater with glasses, smiling, right? So you just kind of give as much description as you possibly can so Google knows what that image is, right? It doesn't know what an image is unless you tell it. So metadata, we kind of talked about titles a little bit. Sometimes those go hand in hand with your header 1 tags. So you want to make sure that, typically 60 characters, 15 to 65 is kind of the range. Meta descriptions. So that's what people will see in the description when they type in Google, whatever the search is. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. Make those 160 characters. And keywords, actually, this is kind of, I should have removed this. Don't even worry about keywords. If you see that in your tool, just disregard it. They're not very relevant anymore. Here's an example, just to give you an idea. So title tag, I wanted to kind of go after author marketing, making sure that you have author marketing inside your description, inside the title tag, but it doesn't look like it's spammy. You're not trying to game the system. You're just trying to explain what's on the post. A couple of helpful plugins. How many of you use WordPress? Okay, most of you guys. So I actually personally use all-in-one SEO, but that's because that was the only thing I knew about at the time. Now Yoast, and I think it's like WordPress SEO, whatever they call it now, is really the main player. Either one of those will get the job done. So moving on to social media, how many of you guys are active on social media or want to be active on social media? Okay, so there's talks that this is going to be a huge play in algorithms to come, because content that's shareable is content that people want to read, and so therefore there's going to be an emphasis on that when it comes to Google search results. And so make sure that you're actually linking on your Facebook page to your website, or on your Twitter page to your website, and then also having social media buttons that link back to that profile, so you have that connection. Also, make sure that you have a way to share that social media so that you can get those shares. I use a plugin called Social Warfare. How many people use Pinterest? Okay, for you that did not raise your hand, you need to open a Pinterest account this afternoon. It is amazing, the traffic. It's my #1 traffic source to my website right now. And so Social Warfare allows me to actually put behind the scenes a Pinterest image with words on it, but the picture that people see is just a regular picture, right? Like a picture of, let's say, a car on a highway, but the actual Pinterest image is hidden behind the scenes. So it just makes it easy for people to share and like your content. So you definitely want to do that. This is a big challenge that I'd say 90% of you face right now. There's a free site called, it's tools.pingdom.com. Like I said, these slides will be available. But you can go and see how long it takes for people to load your website. And oftentimes, it's going to take 10, 13, 15 seconds. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to hang around for that, right? So you want to make sure that your page load speed is optimized. You want to usually be under 3 seconds, which sounds crazy, but it's possible. So a couple things you can do. If you have plugins that are not being used, delete them, deactivate them, because they're taking up your bandwidth. Make sure that your images are less than 200K. I can't tell you how many people upload a megabyte image to their page. Like, you don't want to do that, because it takes a long time. If you ever seen an image scroll, kind of like dial-up, and you're like, I just want to read the content, but this image keeps going. So you can do that with like even Microsoft Paint, or there's a program called GIMP. It's another photo editing free software where you can optimize your images. Create a sitemap. WordPress actually does this for you, so most of you guys are okay. There is a plugin called XML Sitemaps. Yoast and All-in-One SEO also make sitemaps for you. It's basically a table of contents of how your site is organized, so it's super important that you have that and that you're submitting it to Google. So let's talk about some off-page optimization. So like I said, you want to make sure that the search engines know about you, right? So with All-in-One SEO, and I'm pretty sure Yoast does this too, there's a box where you can authenticate Google Webmaster Tools, Bing Webmaster Tools, and verify your Pinterest account. Those you're going to have the Google tutorials for, but it doesn't take that long, probably 10, 15 minutes for each. So you definitely want to make sure you're doing that. How many of you use Google Analytics? Okay, for you that don't, you definitely want to do it, because it helps you see how long are people on your site, what are they clicking on, what pages are they going to, and you can make the experience better. If someone's going to a page and they're only there for 10 seconds, that's horrible. You want to fix that, figure out why. So definitely want to get that set up. This is probably the bread and butter to SEO, right? Link building. Because the way that Google views your site is how credible are you compared to the rest of the sites. If nobody's linking to you, in Google's eyes, you're not credible. So you need to get links. One of the best ways for bloggers, for financial people, is to write guest posts. You guys all have relationships here. You're meeting tons of people. There's 1,200 people here. Exchange guest posts. Say, hey, Jackie's good about paying off debt. Chris is good about insurance, right? So maybe she needs something on her site, maybe he needs something on his site. So sharing back and forth, guest posting on each other's site. Mentioning, if someone write a really good post, mentioning that on your site, saying, hey, I really like this article that they wrote, and then maybe they'll write back and they'll say, hey, I really like this article that you wrote. Just a very organic, natural way to build links. And then there's a few personal finance directories, Wisebread, ptmoney.com, and then moneycrashers.com. They rank kind of the top personal finance blogs, personal finance sites, so you can definitely look into doing those as well. You also want to look at quality links. So there's a Chrome extension that I use called Mozbar, and it will tell you how authoritative a website is. So if it's a scale of 1 to 100. 1 is they're not very credible, maybe they're just starting out. 100 is Wikipedia, Twitter. So obviously, the higher the score, the better. So let's just say that someone's like, hey, I want to do a guest post exchange, and they have a 1 and you've got a 30. Well, that's not really a fair trade. So you want to be able to kind of know, are you getting quality links, and kind of test those beforehand. And then page authority is just how authoritative is that page. And that's kind of important if you're ranking for a specific keyword. I won't go into depth because we could do a whole thing on that, but the higher the page authority, the better. So some things to stay away from when it comes to SEO. You want to avoid using Flash. Hopefully none of you are doing that here. You want to avoid keyword stuffing. Don't repeat your keyword over and over again. Google is too smart for that. And broken links. I would guarantee half of you have broken links on your site right now. So there's a free plugin called Broken Link Checker. Install it, find the broken links, fix them, because you probably maybe updated the page, maybe deleted the page, whatever. And then you want to deactivate it, because this will suck up your page load time. So just use it once, deactivate it, maybe use it again in 60, 90 days.